Welcome back to episode 13. Jungkook's heart sank. He clenched his fist, trying to hold back his emotions. Jungkook, but we can still be friends, can't we? We can hang out sometimes. Taehyung's hand tightened into fist. He wanted to say, I don't want to be hurt anymore. Please, just let me go. But he couldn't bring himself to say it. Instead, he kept his feeling hidden. Taehyung, I will be busy with my studies, sir. I need to focus on graduating and finding a good job. My family needs me. Jungkook's voice grew more desperate. Jungkook, but we can visit you to your home, right? Taehyung, that would be troublesome, sir. Jungkook lowered his head, his heart breaking. He couldn't think of anything else to say. The distance between them felt impossible to bridge. Taehyung, thank you for everything you have done, sir, but you don't need to take care of me anymore. Jungkook's voice trembled. Jungkook, no. At least let me take care of you until you are discharged. Taehyung didn't respond. Tears streamed down his face, but he kept Jungkook stood there waiting for Taehyung to say something more, but he remained silent. Finally, Jungkook barred his lips and turned towards the door. Before leaving, he glanced back at Taehyung, hoping he would look his way, but Taehyung didn't. Jungkook walked out of the room, his heart heavy and his steps slow. The silence in the room was deeper, and the distance between them felt like an ocean neither could cross. 3 days has passed. Usual things happen. Jungkook stayed at the hospital to assist and take care of Taehyung, but the atmosphere didn't change. Taehyung couldn't continue to give Jungkook the cold shoulder while Jungkook did his best to cheer him up. Minji visited sometimes too, but because of Taehyung's condition, she couldn't stay long. Taehyung talked to her, but not as cheerful as before. He simply answered her question. His face motionless, the smile he used to show were nowhere to be seen these past few days. And when Jungkook, right there, Jungkook said, trying to get his attention. Taehyung didn't bother to look at him. He kept staring out the window, watching the birds fly by. Jungkook sighed and he looked at Taehyung, still hoping he would turn his way. But Taehyung didn't, not even once. Jungkook, you have been here for 3 days. The doctor said you can be discharged today, but I asked him to let you stay for 2 more days at least here will be well taken care of. He said softly, is that okay with you? 3 days. 3 days has passed. Usual things happen. Jungkook stayed at the hospital assisting and taking care of them, but the atmosphere didn't change. Them continued to give Jungkook the cold shoulder, but while Jungkook did his best to cheer him up. Minji visited sometime too, but because of Leehoon's condition, she couldn't stay long. Taehyung talked to her, but not as cheerful as before. He simply answered her question, his face motionless. The simple he used to show nowhere were nowhere to be seen these past few days, and when Minji left the room, he fell completely silent again. His eyes fixed on the window. Jungkook lifted his head, turtled his head, watching Taehyung for any reaction, but Taehyung's lips remained shut, his expression unchanged. Every second Jungkook spent in this room, I need to look happy so he can be happy, Jungkook thought. It had been days and he still couldn't figure out what was going on. Taehyung smiled every time Taehyung fell into a deep sleep. Jungkook would sit on the chair beside the bed, quietly sobbing. Jungkook, tell me if you are getting sick of the hospital, okay? We can go back home. Maybe there You will feel more comfortable, he said, turning around to hide the pain on his face. He bit his lips, afraid his voice might crack. He took a deep breath to calm down, but his heart felt like it was being squeezed. He set the water bottle he was holding on the table and clenched his fist. I need to calm down. I can't let him see me like this. Jungkook, I will just go buy some snacks, he lied. He needed a breath. He left the room, clenching his fist and biting his lips, suppressing the urge to cry. Jungkook spent half an hour in the hospital garden to calm himself before heading to the convenience store to buy snacks. When he returned, Jungkook, I'm back. Sorry it took you so long, he said with a forced clench, plastering a smile on his face. Taehyung was lying on the bed, his back facing the door. As usual, Jungkook, he is asleep. Jungkook mumbled to himself. He sighed and put the bag of snacks on the table. As he unpacked the snacks, he heard a faint sound of sniffs as he glanced at Taehyung, who observing him closely, but Taehyung didn't move an inch. Jungkook, did I hear that wrong? He thought, shrugging it off. He focused on. After a while, Jungkook realized Taehyung was running out of clothes. Jungkook, should I have someone to deliver his clothes here? Remember, maybe I should go get them myself, he added, standing up. He also needed to check on things at home since he hadn't been back since the incident. Jungkook, he called out softly. Taehyung didn't answer. Jungkook, he is really asleep, Jungkook mumbled, sighing. He grabbed the coat and phone. Jungkook, I will just go home to get you some stuff, he said, even though he knew Taehyung couldn't hear him. He sighed once. Taehyung had been awake the whole time, he quietly sobbing and crying. He greeted with tears and tears streaming down his face. He heard Jungkook say goodbye and leave the room. Once Jungkook was gone, Taehyung sat up and looked around. It's probably time to leave this room, he mumbled to himself, his voice trembling. He clenched his fist and looked at the ivy needle in his arm. Taehyung, no, don't overthink it. I have decided to leave this room and disappear from his lips, he said, forcefully removing the needle. He groaned in pain but felt no regret. He wanted to leave before Jungkook returned. Taehyung grabbed a handkerchief and wrapped it around his arm. Then he stood up, winching slightly from the pain in his abdomen, but he couldn't stay any longer. Every time Jungkook was near, he reminded him of his mistake, falling for someone he could never have. Taehyung, I don't want to understand his kindness anymore, he told himself. He changed his clothes, grabbed a coat, and put in his wallet and phone in his pocket. Taehyung, these are all I need, he said quietly. He glanced back at the bed, then at the table where Jungkook had laid the snacks and flowers to brighten his day. Taehyung, goodbye to this foolish love, he whispered, smiling bitterly. He grabbed the doorknob and paused for a moment. Taehyung, I will leave the good and bad memories here, he thought, twisting the doorknob and stepping outside. Taehyung walked down the hallway with it lowered, passing room after room, but then his feet stopped on their own. He looked at the side and saw the nursery where newborns were being taken care of. Tears welled up in his eyes as he read the name on one of the computers. Yon Bill Taehyung, he named you Star, huh? He mumbled, his voice breaking. The star I can only see, but never touch, he added, looking down, but like the love I can only feel, but will never be returned. He quickly wiped his tears and started walking again. Taehyung, there is no point in looking at marching out of the hospital without looking back. Taehyung finally arrived at his family house. He stood in front of the door, taking a deep breath. It had been less than 9 months since he last see his family. He wiped his eyes, forcing a smile. He couldn't let his mother and sister worry about him. When he finally felt ready, he twisted the knob and slowly opened the door, careful not to make any noise. As he peeked inside, he heard the sound of the television. He stepped in quickly and made his way to the living room. His mother and sister were sitting together, laughing and enjoying whatever. Taehyung smiled softly as he watched them. His sister looked healthy, and his mother, who always seems worn out from worry, now appeared relaxed and happy. The surrogacy really helped improve our family situation, he thought. He sighed again and stepping into the living room. His mother and sister didn't notice him at first. Then, "Ma," he called out softly. His mother and sister turned their head, their eyes widen in surprise. Mother, "Thay," sister, "Thay." They both jumped up and rushed to hug him. Taehyung winced slightly as they embraced him tightly. The stitches on his belly were still tender, though the pain was unbearable. Taehyung, "I missed you, Ma. I missed you too, honey." "Miss you too, Jiwon," he said, patting their back and forcing a smile. "Mother, how was work? Did everything go well?" she asked as she pulled away her eyes, touching his face. "Sister, I missed you too, and I'm glad," she said, relief washing over her face. "Come on, join us," she added, pulling him to the sofa. Taehyung sat down, his eyes lingering on his family's happy faces. "This will help me move on from him," he thought, turning his attention to the television. Meanwhile, Jungkook arrived back at the hospital carrying a bag of Taehyung's clothes. "Jungkook, I'm back," he said as he entered the room. But his heart dropped when he saw the empty bed. The IV needles has been removed. His eyes widened and his chest tightened with panic. "Jungkook, where is he?" He dropped the bag at the entrance and rushed to the nurse's station, his voice trembling with fear. "Jungkook, where is the patient from room 52?" he demanded, his voice rising. The nurse looked startled. "Nurse, sir, please calm down." "Jungkook, how can I calm down when he is gone? He is not fully healed yet," he shouted, drawing the attention of everyone in the hallway. Just then, Minji arrived. Hearing the commotion, she ran over and grabbed Jungkook's arm. "Minji, hey, calm down. What's going on?" "Jungkook, Taehyung is not in his room," he yelled, his voice breaking. Minji, clicking her tongue, and patted him across his face. "Minji, get a grip, Jungkook. You are causing a scene," she scolded, dragging him back to Taehyung's room. Jungkook stumbled after her, his anger fading into despair. "Minji, now tell me what happened," she said. "Jungkook, I went to home to get his things, but then I came back. He was gone," he mumbled, tears welling up in his eyes. "Minji, do you have any idea where he might be?" "Jungkook, I don't know. Maybe he went home." "Minji, to your house?" "Jungkook, no." He shook his head, his knees giving out as he collapsed on the floor, his fist clenched tightly as tears streaming down his face. "Freak, freak, freak," he cursed silently. Minji, you are hopeless, you know that? She sighed, tell me where he might be, and I will drive you there. She grabbed his wrist, trying to pull him up, but he didn't budge. Minji, do you want to see him? Not or not? She snapped, her patience wearing thin. Back at Taehyung's house, his mother called out from the kitchen, Mother, son, dinner is ready. Taehyung was still sitting in front of the television, his mind far away. He couldn't focus on the show his sister was watching. His thought was consumed by Jungkook. Taehyung, I'm not hungry, Ma, he said, forcing a smile. His mother and sister exchanged worried glances. Mother, all right, eat when you're ready, okay? She said gently, retreating to the kitchen with his sister. When they were gone, Taehyung hugged his knees and washed his face in them. Taehyung, I need to keep myself busy. He mumbled, I will go back to university and switch from online classes to. He sighed, his thoughts drifting to Jimin and Minho. I wonder how they are doing. Just then the doorbell rang. Taehyung froze. He walked to the door, peeked through the peephole. His heart sank when he saw Jungkook and Minji standing outside. Taehyung, why now? Just when I'm trying to forget. His hands trembling, his chest as his heart were being torn apart. Mother Tae, who is it? His mother asked, appearing behind him. Taehyung turned to her, his eyes filled with pain. Mother, what's wrong? Who is there? She pressed, her voice lashed with concern. Taehyung didn't answer. His mother looked through the peephole and saw Jungkook and Minji. Mother, it's your boss, she said, turning to Taehyung. Did something happen? Did he hurt you? Taehyung took a shaky breath. Taehyung, Ma, I need you to ask you a favor. I will explain everything, but please just do this for me, he said, resting his forehead on her chest. His mother hugged him tightly, sensing the pain. Mother, of course, son, just tell me what's going on, okay? Taehyung, yes, Mom, he whispered, tears slipping down his chest. To continue. Everyone, what do you think about this episode? Okay, so they are being apart for a while, but in next two episodes they are gonna be back together, and it is gonna be a happy ending, so don't be worried about it. See you again in the next episode. Till then, take care of yourself. Bye. Pura, hey, love you.